After the car accident, I forgot who I was. In a panic, I could only find the contact labeled, husband, on my phone and dialed it. Husband. I choked up. Please come pick me up from the hospital. I'm scared. There was a long silence on the other end. Are you stupid? I cried out miserably. I know my brain is damaged. Why aren't you here? Don't you love me anymore? On the other end, Hizuo was silent. Later, I learned from others that Hizuo and I weren't actually married. We were enemies who couldn't stand each other. But the man held me tightly in his arms, kissed my ear, and said, "Don't listen to them, it's just bad gossip. Do you trust him, or do you trust your husband?" The man sat in the hospital room, staring at me. "Come sit closer. I'm scared, husband." Hizuo looked grim and walked toward me, asking the doctor as if he'd just eaten something awful, "Are you sure she's suffering from amnesia, not going crazy?" I frowned and reached out for his hand. "If you keep saying that, I'll really get mad." The moment our fingers touched, Hizuo's body stiffened slightly. I slid my hand into his palm, and he fully enveloped it, gently rubbing it. "It's so warm." I smiled at him. "Husband, I want to be discharged." Since the accident, I had been in the hospital for over a month. My body had healed, but I had completely forgotten my past. I didn't even know my own name. The only thing I knew was that the man in front of me was named Hizuo. And he was my husband. The clues were in my phone's contacts and WeChat. All labeled, husband, in my photo album with wedding pictures. And various gift orders addressed to Hizuo. The most important clue was that this man was exactly my type. Dark eyes, thin lips, a tall, slender figure, and a rebellious aura in his deep gaze. If I knew him, I would have definitely done everything to get him. Since finding out I had lost my memory, Hizuo had been unable to accept it, but every day, without fail, he came to the hospital to sit with me. Followed up with doctors on my condition. He seemed to be the type who would coldly wash his own laundry after a fight with his wife. I firmly believed he was my husband, though our relationship might not be good at the moment. Besides, he was the only person I could rely on now. I wanted to go home. I sat on the bed, pale, with only the warmth of Hizuo's hand on mine. I greedily snuggled into his stiff arms. "Take me home, please, Hizuo. I'm scared. I want to go home." Hizuo shuddered. I don't know how long it was, but I felt a soft touch on my head. His helpless voice carried a trace of unnoticeable caution. "Okay." With Hizuo's help, I learned that my name was Shu Kan. My parents had passed away, leaving a huge inheritance. I had an estranged brother working overseas managing the family business. My daily routine was to live recklessly, burning through money. "What job do I do?" Hizuo glanced at me, half smiling. "Job? Miss Shu, who would dare hire you?" I widened my eyes. "So I'm just a full-time housewife?" I said it a bit shyly, imagining Hizuo wouldn't let me work because he was jealous. And I'd have to stay home waiting for him, playing the role of his domineering wife. "So you really care about me, not letting me work." "But husband, if I work, I won't flirt with anyone else. Don't worry. I'll always love you the most." Hizuo seemed speechless, his expression complicated. "Shu Kan, what is going on in your head?" "I'm thinking about you," I blurted out. His expression turned even more complicated. Hizuo dropped me off at my apartment. But I couldn't remember the password. What about fingerprint recognition? Facial recognition? Turns out this apartment only had a password lock. And neither my fingerprint nor face had been registered. Hizuo was shocked as he looked at my pitiful self and sighed. After being discharged from the hospital, I only had my phone, no ID card. Hizuo said I lived alone. I guessed I had been separated from him for quite some time. I couldn't help but wonder what my old self was thinking. Rejecting such a handsome husband and living alone in such a big apartment, how cold and lonely that must have been. I tugged at his sleeve. "Husband, can we go back to your house? I mean, our home. I don't want to live alone anymore." Hizuo looked at me, his gaze filled with something I couldn't understand. He stayed silent for a long time. And just when I thought he was going to take me to a hotel, He spoke up. His voice was husky, like he had made a decision. "Shu Kan, this is what you wanted. From now on, don't regret it." I smiled brightly, wrapped my arms around his neck, and pouted. "You're going to take me home, right, husband? I'm sorry. I won't make you angry again. Please don't leave me." He wrapped a strong hand around my waist, his warm breath carrying an aggressive intensity. He pulled me close. You can't leave me either." "I won't." I thought Hizuo was still angry, so I obediently kissed his face. Hizuo asked, his voice low. What if you mess up again and make me angry? I blinked, embarrassed, burying my face in his shoulder. Whispering. Then you can lock me up, do this and that. We're married, so we can't be apart, right? Where there's love, there's sex. And where there's hate, there's hate. That's the real foundation of a long-lasting relationship. Hizuo laughed, a low rumble in his chest. Fine, you said it, just don't cry when it happens. I felt smug, thinking I had saved my marriage with my handsome husband. But I didn't realize Hizuo was holding me. His gaze heavy with something I couldn't quite place. Our house was large, with a minimalist design. But it felt a bit empty. I thought we must have been separated for a long time. There were no signs of me in the house. No slippers or toothbrushes, only Hizuo's things. Thinking about it, I was curious about why Hizuo and I had fallen into this cold war. But I was afraid that bringing up the past would make things awkward. So I asked, husband, what was I like before I lost my memory? Hizuo had just finished a phone call, sitting on the sofa, raising an eyebrow, pretending to be serious. Willful, selfish, recklessly arrogant, spoiled, brainless. I pounced on him. That's a lie. You're so mean. He grabbed me, smiling in his eyes. I'm not lying. You used to get angry for no reason, and you never gave me a good look. He pulled me into his arms, and I sat on his lap, asking softly, is that true? My voice carried a hint of sadness. Hizuo gently stroked my back, as if he had done this thousands of times. True, you even hit me and cursed me. I felt even more down, lowering my eyes, pressing my lips together. But then my ears suddenly warmed. Hizuo turned his face, biting my earlobe in punishment, whispering, but I loved it. Shukan. He said it fiercely, but his tone was full of ambiguity. The air grew thick with desire, and I gasped for breath, falling into his deep, longing gaze. When I collapsed onto the bed, staring at the unfamiliar ceiling, a shiver ran through me. Hizuo hovered above me, overwhelming me with his restraint. In the end, he let out a breath, fastening the button on my collarbone and saying, don't mess with me, I'll let you go today. I collapsed, barely able to breathe, grabbing his shirt as he stood up. Where are you going? I felt reluctant, and Hizuo chuckled, his voice teasing, don't look at me like that. I'm not leaving. You go shower. I'll open the door for Auntie. When I came out of the shower, new pajamas and slippers were set out for me, and the sink had a new toothbrush, towel, and even the same style of underwear I was wearing. I walked out of the bathroom to find Hizuo also finished. His hair half dried, his sharp features softened. I swallowed. So handsome. What kind of life did I used to live? Hizuo looked at me, and for some reason, there was a fleeting look of shyness on his face. I went up to help him dry his hair. We were already old married couple. Why was he still shy? We turned off the lights, and Hizuo lay very far from me, as if in a mood. I reached out, snuggling into his arms, inhaling his faint scent. Husband. In the dark, I couldn't see his expression, but I could feel the conflict in his heart. I nuzzled closer, kissing the corner of his mouth. Husband, I don't remember what happened before. I had a bad temper, treated you badly. I'm sorry. Let's not fight anymore. Let's not separate, okay? I don't remember anything. I'm so scared. Hizuo suddenly held me tightly, kissed my forehead, and whispered, don't be scared. As long as you're with me, I'm not scared. I said, even though I had forgotten everything. Husband, when I see you, I just want to be close to you, want to hug you. The only thing I know for sure is that I still love you. I don't want to be separated. I don't want a divorce. In Hizuo's warm embrace, the anxiety of the past month was gradually replaced with a sense of security. I babbled on, shamelessly telling him I loved him. As sleep overtook me, my voice grew quieter. Before I lost consciousness, I heard Hizuo mumbling in the darkness. Shukan, after your amnesia, I thought this was heaven's gift to me. Sleep now. He gently patted my back. If this is a dream, I hope I never wake up. Hizuo and I were really living the life of a married couple. I didn't know how I lived before, but deep down, I was satisfied with the present and didn't want to regain my memories. But my past wouldn't just disappear. When the contact for Ji Ziyuan called for the third time, I finally answered. Hello? Hi, Shukan. I organized my words and spoke politely. Hello, is there something I can help you with? The other side sighed, sounding impatient. What's wrong with you? Still acting up after a month? Hasn't Lulu already apologized to you? Acting up? Who's Lulu? He spoke too much, and I didn't understand a word. But his tone clearly showed he didn't want to talk to me. And it had been over a month since he last called. He didn't even know I was in a car accident. Our relationship must not be great. So I responded generously, okay, no problem. I've accepted her apology. Is there anything else? At this moment, I heard a sound at the door. And my eyes lit up. I ran to the door. Husband. I hung up the phone without hearing his angry questioning. I kissed Hizuo's face. Husband. You're back. After the initial awkwardness. Hizuo had completely gotten used to my kisses and hugs. When the passion hit, he would even ask me if I would love him forever. I took his passionate kiss, but then my phone rang again. I hung up and heard Hizuo ask, "Someone called you. Why didn't you answer?" I did, but he yelled at me. I don't like it. He mentioned Lulu, but I didn't know her, and my head hurt. When Hizuo heard that, he furrowed his brows. He grabbed my phone, saw Ji Ziyuan's name on the screen, and his expression darkened. I asked, "What's wrong, husband? Do you know him? Is our relationship good?" Hizuo stared at me deeply, and I felt a chill. Husband, don't look at me like that. I'm scared. I reached for his hand, but he gripped it tightly. After a long pause, he said sternly, "I don't know him. Our relationship isn't good. From now on, you're not allowed to answer his calls." His logic was contradictory, clearly hating Ji Ziyuan. I nodded and immediately blocked Ji Ziyuan's number, along with all his contacts. Hizuo stood stunned, clearly not expecting me to be so resolute. For a moment, there was shock on his face. I pinched his face. "Now you won't get his calls anymore. Don't be upset, husband." Suddenly, my body lifted as Hizuo picked me up and walked toward the bedroom. His eyes were like a wolf's, his breathing heavy. I felt his excitement, confused by it. "Shu-kan, what do you want me to do?" He spoke strangely, and the rest of his words were swallowed by our kiss. "You're too good, baby. From now on, don't blame me." I touched his back, shaking my head, my mind blank. I woke up again in the middle of the night. My phone emitted a faint glow, and WeChat notifications came one after another. Lu Meng, the beautiful girl, sent a barrage of messages. I scrolled up. "I'm finally out of jail. That old man really has no heart. He locked me up for 3 whole months. This lady, you haven't sent me a single message. What's up with that? Where the hell have you been? Shu-kan. You're not answering your phone. You didn't really get into trouble, did you? Call me back?" I kept scrolling to the very end, reading through her desperate, frantic messages, until the last one. "Are you living with Hizuo now?" And then a whole page of question marks. "Feel free to ask if you need any further edits." I replied, "Yes, I'm very happy with him. And you don't need to burn 30 billion in paper money for me." Lu Meng. Oh my god. I met Lu Meng at a cafe. Although I couldn't remember her, she must have really been my good friend. I looked at her exquisite, beautiful face without being struck by awe. But instead, I felt a genuine urge to laugh. It's crazy. Reality is even more ridiculous than novels. She was drinking strong liquor in broad daylight. And she asks me if I don't remember her? I honestly shook my head and smiled at her. "But you must be a good person and my friend. I have tons of photos of us together." Of course, I didn't mention the ones of her looking terribly drunk with no makeup on. Lu Ming snorted. "That's better." I asked, "Why are you so surprised that I'm living with Hizuo?" According to Lu Ming's story, Hizuo and I weren't a loving couple at all. In fact, we were bitter enemies who couldn't stand each other. Hizuo always mocked me with sarcastic words. And I hated him to the core. I despised him so much. I wanted to bite his head off. "So why did we get married then?" Lu Meng was shocked. "Who told you that you two got married?" From that point on, with every word she said, my eyes widened more and more. "You had an engagement, but for some reason, you suddenly flipped out and disappeared at the engagement banquet. Both families were embarrassed, and your brother was furious. After that, Hizuo didn't want to deal with you. But every time you saw him, you were furious and kept trying to provoke him. And," I asked, "and what? You even started seeing Ji Ziyuan from the Ji family. You were with him." Lu Ming frowned when she mentioned Ji Ziyuan. "Although you say you didn't like him, you were chasing him pretty hard, sis. Even Ji Lu dared to step all over you." She was frustrated. "Wasn't it Ji Lu who ruined the dress your mom left for you last time? Did you get someone to deal with her?" Damn, thinking about it makes me mad. She's a classic green tea bitch. Every time I see her, I want to slap her. I saw her standing up for me and felt touched. But in her description, I sounded like a complete idiot. I called off the wedding, offended the He family, made my brother furious, shamelessly chased after someone else, and was humiliated for nothing. Lu Meng noticed how embarrassed I looked and patted my shoulder with a heavy sigh. Baby, it's not the end of the world. You've got terrible taste in men. Now's your chance to change your mind and start fresh. Kick Ji Ziyuan to the curb. Get rid of him. As for He Zuo, get out of his house already. You keep pushing his buttons like that. Even God can't save you. I suddenly asked, before I called off the wedding. How was my relationship with He Zuo? Lu Meng paused, thought for a second, and then said, I guess, it was okay. Definitely not as hostile as it is now. I thought for a moment. I knew I must have had a reason for suddenly turning against him. But my mind was blank, and I just couldn't remember. Lu Meng saw I wasn't speaking and widened her eyes. Can, you don't still want to be with him, do you? She warned me like she'd seen a ghost. I don't know why, but you hated him so much before. There must have been a reason for it. Don't be stupid. You've lost your memory now. And you're getting along with him. I'm worried you'll remember and regret it. And then you won't be able to escape. Lu Meng said seriously. He's no good. Shu Can. When I got home, He Zuo was sitting silently on the couch. The lights were off in the living room, and I was startled. I stood by the entrance, remembering Lu Meng's warning from earlier. I was frozen for a moment. He Zuo had a blank expression. But his eyes were darker than usual, almost pitch black. He motioned for me to come over. Come here. I blinked, but I didn't move. He Zuo raised his voice, his tone tinged with suppressed aggression. Come here, baby, don't make me repeat myself. I obediently walked over, and in an instant, he yanked me toward him and I fell into his arms. He rubbed my back and smiled. Did you go see Lu Meng today? What did she say? His smile didn't reach his eyes. And I remembered Lu Meng's warning in my mind. You chased after Ji Ziyuan and cheated on He Zuo. The way he came to the banquet to settle things, I'm still scared just thinking about it. I'm glad you didn't do anything, though. She said it like she had just survived a disaster. Thank God your brother intervened. Otherwise, the two of us would have been done for. And Ji Ziyuan, too. You need to settle things with He Zuo. And I'll take you to find a cuter guy. Abs. Bad boy vibes. Totally your type. What was I thinking? He Zuo's deep voice cut through my thoughts. What are you thinking about, huh? He gently shook me. Talk to me. I didn't dare tell him I was thinking about that cute guy with abs. So I just shook my head. Nothing. I sat on his lap and said honestly. We talked about my past. Lu Meng said we didn't have a fight and we didn't get married. He Zuo listened quietly, not saying a word, gesturing for me to continue. We never really loved each other. He Zuo. The change in the way I addressed him made his expression darken immediately. He looked at me quietly, and then? You're not my husband, and I'm not your wife. I propped myself up on his chest and slowly stood up. We shouldn't be living together. I want to go home. Before I could finish, I suddenly felt the world spin as He Zuo pressed me down. In the dim light, I couldn't see his face. But I could hear him, his voice tinged with a smile. Go home? Go home where? This is your home. He tightened his grip on my neck and kissed me fiercely, almost suffocating me. I already let you off once, Shu Can. There's no second time. His hot breath on my neck. He growled, you say I'm not your husband, huh? Tell me, what part of you haven't I touched? What part haven't I kissed? You used to call me husband. Now, someone says something, and you don't even admit it? He gripped me tightly. And when I couldn't breathe anymore, he suddenly let go. He Zuo's tone softened and he kissed me, gently holding my lips that were trembling. Don't listen to them. We love each other. I love you, Shu Can. You love me too. You can never leave me, understand? His sweet words were like something from hell. I reached out and hugged him, nodding slightly. He smiled. Good girl, baby. He patted my back, gently calming me. But he didn't notice the smile creeping up on my lips. The car accident was real, and so was the memory loss. But I remembered everything by the second week after I woke up. At that time, He Zuo was sitting on the sofa next to my hospital bed, coldly peeling apples for me. When he saw me staring at him blankly, he mocked me. Your brain shut down again? Such a fool. But his hands never stopped moving. I suddenly felt like crying. He Zuo never did anything with his hands, and he never ate apples. But I loved them. Back then, I used to tease him and make him peel apples in the shape of flowers. He would complain. But he still learned how to make bunny-shaped apples for me. I loved Hizuo. He kind of liked me too. We had naturally gotten engaged, and both families were happy. But how did we end up here? When I was hit by that speeding car, the memories rushed through my mind like a slideshow. I cheered for him at the sports field. Hizuo gently put earrings on me. And when he heard we were getting engaged, his ears turned red. Then, I stopped at the engagement banquet's resting room. Hizuo's best friend asked, "After all these years, aren't you waiting for her?" A long pause. Then I heard Hizuo's cold voice. "I'm not waiting." What was he waiting for? My heart jumped. And then I heard the answer. "Qin Chaoyao is coming back tomorrow." Hizuo. Hey. He hesitated. Then the room fell silent. I stumbled out, overwhelmed with anger and disappointment. I had heard of Qin Chaoyao. She was the adopted daughter of the He family. She had been abroad for medical treatment. And Hizuo never mentioned her to me. I always thought they didn't get along. But now I realized it wasn't that they didn't get along. It was something much deeper. What did this mean now? What am I now? The wife trapped in a forced marriage, a mere decoration in his house? Shu Kan, born with everything but love. Even with my parents gone, I still have a powerful brother. When I marry, it has to be the person I love. But I loved the wrong person. I made a mistake. Why should I be Hizuo's backup? I walked through the crowd of laughing, talking people. The opulent setting feeling so mocking, suffocating me in an instant. Later, I ran from the wedding and stayed silent to everyone. What could I say? That I fell in love with Hizuo, but he loved someone else? That I was kept in the dark, like an idiot, toyed with by him? My dignity as Shu Ken wouldn't let anyone know. I knew Hizuo couldn't end up with Qin Chaoyao. That made me despise him even more. I hated Hizuo. When he wasn't happy, I was happy. Why? Why should I be the only one who gets hurt? That's why I chased after Ji Ziyuan so openly. I wanted everyone to know that I'd rather be with someone who didn't like me than marry Hizuo. I pushed him away first. I didn't want anyone to know that Hizuo didn't like me. What a ridiculous sense of pride. The last moment before I lost consciousness, I realized how pitiful my so-called pride and stubbornness were. When I woke up, I forgot everything. I subconsciously thought Hizuo was my husband. The brief peace we shared made me feel so happy and calm. When the memories returned, the apple Hizuo fed me was like a sweet nectar that cleared my mind. Their conversation that day had been ambiguous. But I had been too angry to understand. I had done so many things I couldn't take back. Later, I realized that if Hizuo's heart really belonged to Qin Chaoyao, he could have gone abroad with her after the engagement mess. Even under the pretext of being siblings. But he didn't. He didn't even bring Qin Chaoyao back to China. The day I got drunk and went to Ji Ziyuan's banquet, Hizuo almost set East Street on fire in his rage. That night, my brother forced me to go home. And I didn't realize how much despair and pain Hizuo had felt. Afterward, my brother must have said something. And Hizuo let me go. He didn't speak to me again. The cooperation between the Shu family and the He family was cut off. And my brother went abroad. He didn't blame me but told me to reflect on myself. I made mistakes. Everything was beyond saving. Until I lost my memory. The next day when I woke up, Hizuo, for the first time, didn't go to the company. He stared at me for what seemed like forever before leaning down and kissing me. No brushing teeth. I gasped and slapped his shoulder. He grabbed my soft hand and lay down beside me. How do you feel? I overdid it yesterday. He didn't say much, but when he did, I felt like my body had been run over by a truck. Yesterday, he'd been crazy, making me swear I wouldn't leave him again. Wouldn't anger him again. It went on until dawn. There were even deep red marks on my arms. I bit his shoulder in retaliation. It's awful. It hurts so much. I hit and kicked him again, but he just laughed, letting me act out. His eyes filled with indulgence. Hizuo. What did you call me? I blinked. Hubby. He hugged me tight, sealing the gap between us. What did you call me? I want to see Ji Ziyuan. Hizuo didn't hesitate. No. Why? I asked. Is what Lu Meng said true? He lifted his eyelids, lazily saying, what did she say? She said you and Ji Ziyuan fell in love at first sight. Really in love. You messed things up between us, making us split. He pinched my face. Don't talk nonsense. Hizuo still wouldn't let me see Ji Ziyuan. He was clearly displeased with me and Ji Ziyuan. Although he didn't say it out loud, I could tell he still held on to his feelings about me and Ji Ziyuan. Heavens. I hadn't even touched a hair on Ji Ziyuan. Ji Ziyuan knew, too. Although I claimed I couldn't live without him. And Ji Lu used his name to make trouble. Even when we were in the same room. We never did anything beyond shaking hands. But how could I tell Izuo that? I thought long and hard. And the only option left was to pretend to regain my memory and confess to Izuo. Otherwise, seeing him stare at me so gloomily every day, I feel like if he gets too angry one day, he'll swallow me whole without leaving a trace. So, I chose a sunny day to book a table at a private restaurant recommended by Lu Meng. Just in case Izuo gets too mad. The hotel with a hot spring is right upstairs. If things go south, we can always use the married couple method to resolve it. What's the big deal? However, despite being fully prepared, I didn't expect such bad luck today. When Izuo and I arrived at the restaurant, we ran into Ji Ziyuan and Ji Lu. I silently prayed in my mind. I don't see them. I don't see them. I don't see them. Then I turned around and heard Ji Lu's shrill voice. Shu Can. Because of Ji Ziyuan, Ji Lu had always been extremely rude in front of me. I was always obedient to Ji Ziyuan but would ignore her snide comments, letting her think she could do whatever she wanted to me. Ha, I knew it. How could that stubborn person suddenly change? She crossed her arms and scanned me and Izuo up and down. Then turned to Ji Ziyuan and said, Brother, it's understandable that she's not answering your calls. She couldn't catch up with you and went back to an old flame. I frowned. Didn't you brush your teeth this morning? Your breath smells like you've eaten shit. Ji Lu looked surprised, clearly not expecting me to speak to her like that. She instantly got angry. I told you, you're no good. Fickle. My brother didn't listen, but look at Shu's family. You're still. Suddenly, her voice faltered. Izuo stepped forward with a cold, expressionless face, carrying the intimidating aura of someone always in control. What's that? Nothing but throwing yourself at him, she muttered. Ji Lu tried to say more, but Izuo's eyes were so cold they sent shivers down her spine. Ji Ziyuan spoke first, though, and not a single word was what I wanted to hear. He looked at me with a falsely tender gaze. Shu Can, I know you lost your memory, but it's okay. It seemed like he was giving me a pardon. I'll give you time. Come with me now. I'll take you away. Izuo was amused by his domineering tone and asked. Go with you? Who do you think you are? I shook my head and hid behind Izuo. This move clearly pleased him. And the dangerous aura around Izuo softened somewhat. But Ji Ziyuan suddenly said. Shu Can, you said you would only love me in this life. Have you forgotten? I widened my eyes in fear, trying to recall when I had ever said such a thing. But my right hand was suddenly squeezed so hard I almost cried out. Izuo's face turned as dark as a storm cloud, and Ji Ziyuan kept pushing. You and I went to Wu Tai Mountain for the hot spring and watched the sunrise. You said you didn't like Izuo. That you were only engaged to him for business reasons. And you couldn't stand him anymore. So you ran off. Have you forgotten? I looked at Ji Ziyuan in disbelief, as his face twisted with a sense of satisfaction. We were already inseparable. Couldn't live without each other, he said, his voice filled with fake sincerity. If you still don't believe me, Can. You have a butterfly birthmark on your shoulder blade, right? I was shocked. How did he know that? The pressure on my right hand suddenly disappeared. And Izuo let go of me. His eyes hidden behind a mask of unreadable emotion. Ji Ziyuan smiled as if victorious. I didn't lie to you. I'm your boyfriend. Come to me, Can. My heart dropped to the pit of my stomach. Ji Ziyuan and Izuo had always been mortal enemies, which was why I had gone to him in the first place. He lost to Izuo in looks, family background, and abilities, but he found Izuo's weak spot when it came to me, and he constantly rubbed it in. Half-truths and lies, repeated again and again, had clearly gotten through to Izuo. Yes, I had gone to Wu Tai Mountain with him, but it was for a project inspection, and we came back the same day. Let alone the supposed hot springs or sunrise. I had never mentioned Izuo in front of him, and I would never show him my scars. As for the birthmark, sometimes I would cover it up, but I'd occasionally forget. And people close to me knew about it. Ji Ziyuan might have seen it by accident, but none of that mattered. His words painted a picture of closeness between us, meant to provoke and hurt Izuo. And he succeeded. Izuo sped down the road, the car's engine roaring like a beast. I instinctively tightened my seatbelt and turned to him. Ji Ziyuan is lying. He's trying to stir up trouble between us. Honey, don't listen to him. Maybe I did have something with him before. But it was only because we fought. To get back at you. I was panicking, saying things I didn't mean. But now, I don't feel anything for him at all. I don't even know him. Honey, I know I was wrong. What was I even saying? Why did everything I said just make it worse? Hizuo's suffocating silence made my heart race. I was scared of losing him again. Of making another mistake I couldn't fix. The speed at which we were driving reminded me of the accident when I was hit by a speeding car. Tears were almost bursting from my eyes. Hizuo, slow down, I'm scared. Suddenly, the car braked sharply, sending me hurtling forward. I was thrown back, dizzy and disoriented. He was right. I looked up to find Hizuo's eyes bloodshot. Before you lost your memory, you threw everything away for him. You didn't want the engagement, didn't want me. Shu-kan, maybe I really was wrong. I shouldn't have trapped you like this. No, I'm not like this. I cried and shook my head, then rushed to hug him. But he dodged me. His eyes were so cold, they could freeze me. I was sobbing uncontrollably in the car. I never liked him. He's lying, from start to finish. I've only liked you. You were the one who pushed me away. My mind was a mess, and I didn't even know what I was saying anymore. It's you who treated me like a backup. I liked you so much. I was wrong. Honey, please hug me. I've only ever liked you. I only love you. I know I was wrong. Hizuo raised an eyebrow coldly. Is that so? How do you expect me to believe you? I froze, tears streaming down my face. He handed me a tissue and I grabbed his hand, clinging to it as if it was my only lifeline. It's true. Don't you believe me? Come home with me. You'll see. I dragged Hizuo to the apartment I used to live in, hastily typing in the code. Ji Ziyuan lied about us living together. He was just lying. I took Hizuo around, showing him the apartment, pointing out all my stuff, my clothes. Everything was mine. He never came here. Hizuo nodded casually, then pointed to the tall wardrobe in my bedroom. What's this? I froze, blocking his hand from opening the wardrobe. Hizuo raised an eyebrow. What? You don't want me to look? No, it's not that. There's nothing important in there. Okay, then, he said, letting go of the wardrobe with obvious disappointment. My heart squeezed, and I opened it anyway. Inside were various unopened boxes, neatly organized. But they were all men's clothing. Hizuo stared at me. Who's this for? A wave of embarrassment washed over me, but I stayed silent. Hizuo, pretending to understand, said, Oh, it's for Ji Ziyuan. No, I screamed, crying out of frustration. It's not for him. Then, Hizuo pulled out a stack of letters, opened one, and read aloud. Hizuo, even though we've gone our separate ways, I still want to ask you, did you ever really like me? You bastard. Hizuo, I hate you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have been so impulsive. I shouldn't have run away from the wedding. I shouldn't have made you angry. Let's sit down and talk about who you truly love. I won't pester you anymore. One by one, letter by letter, I clung to his hand, begging him to stop reading. I cried so hard I almost fainted. Hizuo, I'm falling apart. Shame and sorrow flooded me, and I couldn't stop him. Those gifts were what I bought for Hizuo before the engagement. Each one was my love. Those letters were my regret, my pain, my frustration. Every single letter was a confession. I cried until I was exhausted. And Hizuo pulled me into his warm, familiar embrace. His scent enveloped me like a blanket. He stroked my back to calm me down, just like he used to do after our arguments. I felt his soft touch on my head, and he whispered, Don't cry, baby. I know, you don't know. I sobbed. You don't know anything. Hizuo chuckled. You're right. After a long pause, he said, I'm sorry, I realized too late. I won't make the same mistake again. Shu-kan. I sat on Hizuo's lap, and he held me tight, asking when I'd remembered. I blinked. Remember what? Still pretending? He pinched my nose. He expertly entered the code for the front door and stopped me from opening the wardrobe, clearly knowing everything about the letters. I was terrible at hiding my secrets. And Hizuo was thoroughly enjoying it. You did this on purpose. I stared at him, wide-eyed. He feigned anger in the car, saying he was going to leave me, just to make me panic and expose myself. He didn't answer, just said, If I didn't do this, when would I be able to get back into your house? Take back my gifts and letters, wife? His words made my face flush. I punched and kicked him. You're so bad. Hizuo. He smiled and held me down. I'm genuinely angry at Ji Ziyuan. He'll pay the price for spreading rumors about you, but letting you go? That's fake. He rubbed my nose. I told you, I won't give you a second chance. We lay together, and I saw Hizuo's gentle, melting gaze. My heart softened. Hizuo, I said softly. What's up with Chin Chow Chow? At the sound of her name, Hizuo sighed in exasperation. She was indeed adopted by the He family, and she did like him. Not only that, she'd done a lot of outrageous things to try to be with him, which had caused a lot of headaches for the He family. They sent her abroad under the pretext of treatment, hoping she wouldn't do anything stupid. But she must have heard about the engagement and cried, demanding to come back. Hizuo's brother had meant to warn him, telling him not to let Chin Chow Chow's actions cause trouble for us. But I overheard part of the conversation and blamed Hizuo for everything. I pursed my lips and lowered my head. Hizuo lifted my chin with a smirk. So, now you realize you were wrong? I've known for a long time. I leaned in to kiss his lips, acting cute and playful. I was wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong. Good. You know you were wrong. Hizuo pressed my head back, and we kissed passionately. Next time, I'll really break your legs and lock you in the house. You won't be going anywhere. I feigned terror. You're crazy. Hizuo, what did you call me? I leaned forward, grinning brightly. Honey, honey,